Hello everyone. We're back for our last layer, guys. We're going to be sealing it today. Sealing the baby today. Yay, almost finished, everybody. Almost finished with the paint. Okay, what I'm using, guys, we're going to jump right into it. What I am using is matte varnish. I get mine from Bountiful Baby, but you can order it at different places. It's called matte varnish. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put me a good sized little glob there. Now, a lot of people, this is how I do it. A lot of people, what they will do is they'll just dip straight out of the jar and put it on the baby. But I don't do it that way. Because I find that if I do it without tinting it a little bit, that it's too white. It's too pale. I don't like that. I don't enjoy that. So what I do is I put just a little mineral spirits in it where it's not going to be so thick. I don't want it too thick. I don't know. I think I'm going to put a little bit of that back, guys, because you don't need much of it when you do it this way either. That's another nice thing about it. And the other way, you use a lot of it. This way you don't, and it works just as good. Not saying anybody else is wrong. Just, this is the way I do it. And I water it down pretty much with the, pretty watery with the mineral spirits. And you can see how it's kind of watery. Yeah, like I say, now some people just take their whatever and just dip it straight in there and use it that way. I don't do that. And it seems to me it goes a lot further this way too. Because I'm adding, I'm adding mineral spirits to it. And I get it down to where it's really pretty watery. With the mineral spirits. See how it's just kind of watery. And then I'll come over here and I'll get me a little bit of that red we were using. Just a little. And I'll put it in there and stir it around. And what it does, it tints this. To where it's like a pink instead of just a white. I'll have to add a little bit more, guys, because I got a little bit much red in there. Don't want it that much. So, just make sure it's mixed good. If it's not thin enough, just add you a little bit more mineral spirits. It's nothing hard about it. Very simple, easy to do, and it's more of just a pink. It's not red, it's just like a pinkish. And that's what I put on my babies. For the varnish, the very layer. What this will do, guys, this is going to... a little bit more in there since I put some more in there. What this is going to do, guys, is when you heat set this seals all that paint in there, on there, where that paint's not going to come out. Even though you've heat set the other, and it shouldn't anyway, and what this does is it just, it seals all that paint. Plus, it gives it kind of a powdery looking like finish to it. I like it. A lot of people does. Some people do like. They'll do like, I think thick medium they'll do the sealing with. I think some people even use thinning medium too to do it. It's just, everybody's different. I use the matte varnish. Gives them a little bit of a powdery look. And it's a matte finish. Okay, now what I've got here, this is called a pouncer. I get these from Walmart. They're very inexpensive. Not expensive at all. And I'll just take that and I'll rub it around, make sure it's good and coated. I mean stirred rather, sorry guys. And I'll just put it on there real good. Now, what I do with this first is I just take the limb. And like if it's got the, like the foot's got all these little creases. And I want it to go down in everywhere, so it's going to seal that whole paint. So I do it just like I was doing the other. You kind of paint it on there, and then I make sure there's no, like, just big gobs of paint left in between the toes, just like we did the other. And all that. And then what I do is I just go all over it with this, it's called a spouncer. And these are found at Walmart in the paintbrush section over there. We get the paintbrushes. Got a little much on there, guys. Let me take a little of that off. don't want it real thick on here, but you can put it on here as thick as you like. Just make sure that the, you know, it's not globbed up anywhere. And this pinkish color that I put to it, well, red made it kind of a pink color. It will, what it will do, it will just give a little bit of a tint, and it's not leaving that real white look on the baby. Because this does give a white finish, kind of a powdery finish to it. But if I just use that, then to me, it's just too much. That's just my own preference. Do it that way. Then I'm going to come back with a little brush. You don't want it on your nails. Because these are, you know, you don't want them rough. You want your nails smooth. Also, what this bouncer does, it gives your baby a little bit of texture. And I just wipe that off of the nails. Now, you can go over this, you know, just keep going over it. Make sure you got it real good and even, guys. You want it, let me get this around just a little bit more. I'm afraid I'm not going to get in camera here, in the frame here. And see, you can just keep going over it and over it and over it and over it if you want to just smooth out, make sure it's all even. Always, this when you get done, though, guys, just take that brush and just kind of wipe over that nail. And it won't matter if a little bit's left on there. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to smooth it out to where the nail's not going to be humped up, because this is going to give a texture to your skin. Now, if you don't want to use this, you don't want a texture, you want it to stay more smooth, you can just use a cosmetic wedge and put it on there and do it that way like we done it before and put it on. But I like it with mine with a little bit of texture, so I do it this way. So I just stir, make sure it's stirred up, paint it on that little thing there. Then I just go in and I start kind of all over, you know, to get it kind of going. All over the thing. All over the limb. And then I go back over it, start evening it all out. Make sure it's all nice and even. Let me lift you up just a little, guys. I'm thinking I'm not getting in this frame. But just lift that, you know, just keep going over and over. And make sure you're getting it all smooth. You want it all nice and smooth. I mean, you don't want like a big glob here and a little bit, a big bunch over here. And you want it, you know, kind of all even. So, even. So all you have to do is just keep going over, around and around and around and around. Like that. Make sure that's good. And then I'm going to go into my crease here and put a little bit in, because just in case that doesn't get in good with this bouncer thing. I want to make sure it gets in the creases too. And do the same thing. When I first put it on, I kind of go everywhere, kind of, you know, just distribute it out just a little bit to where it's, you know, some around at the back, and then you got some here, like that. And then I start going, I start going all over it. And I go over and over and over to make sure that paint is distributed evenly all over the limb. Make sure you got it everywhere, and make sure it's all nice and even. You don't want it, like I said, you don't want it like a big thick spot here and a thin spot there. And you want it as even as you can get it. So, see, it don't even hurt to go back over that part a little bit if you want to and blend it some. Just, you're doing a lot of blending. Here's what you're doing, guys. You're just making sure it's not, you know, it's all even is what you're doing. Make sure all that's even. And that's the first limb. So, I don't know if you can see it or not, but right here's my little hanger. I'm going to hang it up over there and let it kind of flash off. And let me do a hand for you. Okay. Now on this layer, we've been only baking, on the other layers, we've only been baking like 8 minutes, 4 on each side, you know, like that. Now this one is a lot more bacon to it. And I'll explain that when you get to it, because this is a thicker stuff, and it is going to take a little longer to cure. So, then I'll just, all over that little hand, just everywhere I can get with it, you know. Same thing with the nails. You don't want to have that, well, like I said, it don't matter if you got a little bit on there, that's fine. I'm just this humped up stuff, you know, because like I said, it's going to give it just a little bit of texture where it's kind of not, it's not going to be smooth. And you don't want that on your nails. You want your nails to be smooth. So, what I do is I just go all over it. Very easy. It's not complicated at all. And then I just take a little brush that I've got. And it don't matter if there's a little left on it, just as long as you get it smooth. Smooth those little nails out. There's the hand. And then I'm going to take my brush. It's got a little bit left on it, you know, from where I put it on the spouncer, and just make sure if I don't have enough, I'll just put a little bit on there. Make sure I get into every little crease. Then back to the, back to the spouncer again. We'll just paint a little bit on there, just like that. And here we go. Now see how that's just right there? Okay, just kind of spread it around. Go all the way up the arm. See, you're just spreading that everywhere. Then you want to go back over. Start making sure it's all the way up the arm even. So how I do that is I put my finger inside the limb to hold it, and I kind of hold it down here on that flange, because you're not going to be doing that flange. That flange is going to be under the cloth. That's what your cloth attaches to your body. So it don't matter about that. And so I'll hold it right there. And I'm just making sure it's all, trying to make sure it goes on all even everywhere. As even as I can get it. And, yeah. And then that's done. I'll hang it up over here and I'll let it flush off or dry. And the same thing with the face. I was going to show you on the face. You do the whole head and face that way. The only thing is when you get it all done, just make sure you come back to the lips. And you don't want them, you know, you want your lips nice and pretty and smooth. Or I do. And so I do that, and then I take my brush and just go over the little lips, just like that, and just smooth them back out. And now, I'll talk to you about the, while we're doing this, I'll talk to you about the curing process time on it. Usually I put in each layer, I try to bake 8 minutes for each layer. I try. Well, I do. I don't try, I do. And, but this is different. This is a lot thicker. It's going to take a lot longer to cure. So what I do is I put it in, just like I do the other, I put it in for 8 minutes. And, you know, turn them as I go. I bring it out on this. I bring it out and I let it completely cool for, you know, until it's completely cool. Okay, then I put it back in for another 8 minutes. Turn it, just like we were doing. I would turn it out, you know, rotate it while it's in there. And I do it another 8 minutes. I bring it out and I let it cool. I do it again. The same thing. I put it in for another 8 minutes after it's cooled. I bake it for 8 minutes. Bring it out, let it cool. I do this a total on this last layer 3 times in the oven. Each time, 8 minutes, bring it out, let it cool, put it back when it's cooled. 8 minutes, bring it out, let it cool. I do it 3 times. That way, and rotate the pieces as you go, guys. That way you can ensure that this is cured all over, everywhere, and it's not going to, the paint's not going to come off of it. If you do that, you know this baby's cured. The paint is cured on this baby, and you're not going to have to do that. I mean, you know, your paint's not just going to wipe off on this baby. So that's how I do it, guys, and that's... But like I say, when you're baking those 8 minutes, always rotate. And then the next time when you put it back in, to bake it for the second time, you know, maybe lay it a different way than what you had it on. I mean, like, for instance, if you started out with the arm laying flat like this. You do that 4 minutes, you turn over 4 minutes, right? Bring it out, let it cool. Well, the next time when you put it back in, put the arm up edgeways like this and bake it for 4. Put it this way, toward the little hand straight up, bake it for 4. You know, just move it around in there to where it's getting fully heated on every side. And every little place is getting really, you know, heated, and that means it's getting cured. But you do that last layer a total of 3 times. So when I get all this done, that's what I'll do, is I'll put this baby in. And I will bake her 3 different times, but I'll let her cool in between each time. And so, see, look at that. You can't see it there, I'm sure. But I see where I've actually touched that and smeared it. It's not got that little textured look to it. So I need to go back over that. I must have touched it with my glove. And I'll put it up here, and I'll just let it stay there until it flashes off and dries, and then I'll put it into bake. One more thing too I wanted to tell you guys, this will be the last, layer, of course, that we bake. But after everything is baked and everything is cooled, I use this on the nails and the lips. It's a gloss. This is an air dry. You don't have to bake. It's called a Art and Magic Waterborne Clear Gloss Varnish. And it says it air dries to a clear glossy shine. Do not heat. So I get this on Honey Buns Nursery. And that's where I get that, which you could probably get at other places too, but that's where I get mine. But anyway, after everything's cool, everything's baked, cool, and all that good stuff, then I'm going to take this. I'm not going to put it on there right now because, of course, well, here, I'll show you. Just on one, it wouldn't hurt. I can always redo it if I need to, no problem. But I'm not going to heat this. I'm just showing you guys. I will, but I'm just showing you guys right now what it does. And you can see my nail there. And what you do is you go over the top, just with that. Just like you're painting on nail polish. Over each little nail. And over the lips. And just let it sit for probably about 30 minutes, an hour. That's how you do that. And that's the very, very last thing you do to these. And you're done. So, that'll be all, I guess, guys, for the painting series. I may do a rooting series later. I'm not sure if I will. I might. It's a long process, guys, on the rooting series. But I might just maybe show you a little bit of one when I'm rooting to kind of give you an idea how to do it, give you some tips on some needles, and all that, and the hair, where, the nice mohair. I mean, you can get the cheaper mohair, but it's junk. I'll just be honest with you guys, it's junk. The cheaper mohair, I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to throw off on anybody. But I don't like the cheap mohair. I go with the more expensive mohair. It's much nicer. And, but of course, if you're on a budget and you're just starting out, you could use that. I used to. That was when I first started, before I learned about all the nicer mohairs out there. And so I used to do it, but I go for the nicer mohairs. You have to pay a little bit more, but to me they're just a lot nicer. But if you want to use the cheap mohair, that's up to you. Guys, you can get it from Bountiful Baby, and it's the cheaper mohair. But I don't care for it. I use like Slumberland. There's another one that's got really nice mohair, but it's on the high end side. I think it's Delta Dawn. Slumberland's got really great mohair. And then there's another place I'm getting it right now. He's on Facebook. And he's got pretty nice hair and pretty decent prices. And his hair is nice. It's the Jay's Premium Mohair on Facebook. That's the mohair I go for now. I don't use none of the ruby red from Bountiful Baby. But if you guys want to, that's totally up to you. I mean, I'm not throwing off on it or anything like that. It's just I go for the more higher end mohairs now. So anyway, guys, that's about all I've got on this video. Once you do all that, and then once it cools, you bake it 3 times, and it cools completely off after that, guys. You put that gloss on the toenails, the fingernails, and the lips, and you're done. Your baby's finished. You've got a completed, painted, reborn baby. Then I go from there. I do the mohair, and I always seal it in. I glue it in with, I use Mod Podge for that. And so I'll be rooting now. After this evening, I'll be starting rooting this little doll that I just painted. And so I'll start that next. And that's what goes next, is your hair, and then seal it. And then you have to put in, or I put in magnets and all that stuff. So it's still a ways, but at least you got the painting part done. And I really, really do hope that I've helped somebody out there on this. Of course, if you've got any questions, you can always leave your questions in the comment section, and I'll try to answer them for you the best I can. And so, yeah, I guess that's it, guys. And I really appreciate you watching this series, and I hope I helped somebody. All right, guys, I'll see you soon in another video. As always, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.